The coolest ever.
Yeah, it's the best, man. It really is. Like we want to get on the Opry, of course. That's a big goal of ours. But to be able to do the Ryman and do it twice now, yeah, it's dream come true, man. No doubt about it. Very special, haunted place.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't have that live, laugh, love sign back there, unfortunately.
Yeah, what a shock. We were really surprised at that.
Yeah. Missed opportunity.
The intersection of good drinks, good music, and good times. This is Hops and Spirits Bar Conversations.
Joining us for our conversation this week, they make up part of the group East Nash Grass. Please welcome in James Key and Maddie Denton.
Hey, y'all.
Hey, happy to be here.
Well, I'm glad you guys could join, and I think we're in for a fun conversation. Now, this is called Bar Conversation, so I always ask this to start things off. Since you guys are down in Tennessee, I got a little Tennessee whiskey, a little Rattle and Snap.
Oh.
Do you guys have anything good to drink tonight?
I think we have some Busch Light, and then some the Kroger sparkling water, the La Kroger. I guess.
So the hard stuff.
Yeah.
And I've got this water right here. However, if I were to choose my favorite drink, there is one at Dee's Lounge where we play every Monday night, and they used to call it a Smoky Mountain Sour, and I think they changed the name of it. What do they call it now? Spicy Mango or something?
Spicy Mango, yeah. It's nice.
Mm.
Yeah, it's mango habanero from Old Smoky.
Gotcha.
And it's
A little
got
moonshine
some
to get you going.
Yeah, it's like technically a whiskey, but it's got, like Maddie said, a little bit spicy, and I don't ever need more than two of those. Two of those.
You got to remember all the songs you're playing, right?
Yeah, well,
In theory.
mostly, yeah. So normally we'll make the transition to Busch Light, after that.
Mm-hmm.
I like it. Keeping it simple. Everyone loves a good Busch Light. I love a good craft beer as well. Hence the hops and spirits. You got a little bit of both worlds there.
Yeah,
As
yeah.
you should.
We just like the beer to be see-through. That's our only request.
That is fair.
Yeah,
That is fair. Light and easy drinking.
right. That's what we ask people. Quality's not really important either.
Price is.
Price
Price
is
is very
key
important.
component.
Mm-hmm.
Volume, also.
Well, that all is a balancing act, and I like that. And my first question, I'm going to start ladies first on this one. So James, it might be a second or two before I get a question again for you. But Maddie, you've been playing the fiddle since you were 5. Is that right?
That's right. Yes, as long as I can remember, essentially.
Now, how did you get started on the fiddle?
So my mom is also a fiddler, and she's from DeKalb County, Tennessee, rural place. And her dad, so my granddaddy, also played, and he's not with us anymore. But so we have the 3 generations, and that's meant more to me the older I've gotten. I couldn't really wrap my little brain around that when I was younger, but since he's gone, and it's pretty cool that there's 3 generations of fiddlers.
Now, was there any chance you were ever going to play anything else then?
I played a little bit of. Well, see, I grew up going to fiddle contests, and in addition to fiddle, there's always other categories: mandolin, guitar, even dobro. I entered that a few times. I would never play dobro for anyone. These days, I learned my little 2 songs for when there's only 2 contestants and they were giving money away. So I'd get my little
Smart.
eBay dobro out. I think Dad paid $50 for that thing. Bless. But I played. I wanted to play all the instruments: clawhammer, banjo, play a lot of tenor guitar, and back people up, back the other fiddle contestants up during the contest. But fiddle was always the main thing. So, and I've focused less on the other instruments the further along I've gotten on fiddle. So fiddle's just the main thing, but I can tinker around on some other things.
If need be, right? If need be.
Right.
And now, James, you're a guitar guy. How did you get hooked on the guitar?
It was my first instrument, but it's probably more recent that I've been doing it full time. I guess professionally. I've really played mandolin most of my career. So when I was younger, I'm a little bit older than Maddie, but Maddie used to. I didn't know she played other instruments, but many of us bluegrassers were kind of like that. We would find one instrument and stick with it for a really long time. So when I was growing up, Maddie was a little younger, but she would just terrorize all the kids at this local contest circuit. She would show up and I would hear them. They'd be like, "Oh, that's Betty Denton. Oh, shit." Like, like they'd been practicing their ass off and they knew they were probably, they're probably going to get that ass beat, but maybe not, she didn't win them all, but she won a hell of a lot of them. And I had a friend that I backed up in contests as well. I never really got into the contesting, but I would back him up in these contests against Maddie. So that was how I first met her. But I always kind of played guitar and mandolin. I also play banjo. I can play bass, so that we can all do that, but it's better being a bass player. It's like this whole other thing. Everybody in East Nash Grass can play bass, but none of us really have to do it. Yeah, it's a whole other thing. And really, guitar's not that different either. Like, I've been 2 years this month with East Nash Grass playing guitar. So, like our first album, I'm playing mandolin. Harry's playing guitar. And we made the switch at a show we did like right at a year ago, and we liked it. It was easier for me to sing. Thought it was easier to lead the band, especially with our weekly gig where we have a lot of fill-ins. We have a lot of people that aren't there all the, that are out intermittently, and so it's just a hell of a lot easier to lead the band than playing guitar. I understood why all the country singers do it, And I enjoy playing rhythm, and I felt like Harry's such a just sensational mandolin player that his personality fits mandolin better, and it fits our band better, and made our sound stronger, and it just made everybody's lives a little easier. So I've been having to kind of like shed wood a little bit on guitar, because I always played it at the house, but never really professionally until the last 2 years. So it's definitely been a learning curve for me, because I was very comfortable playing mandolin. I spent my whole career doing it, and so now I'm out here doing different stuff. But hey, Dan Tominski did it.
That's right.
So it worked out good.
I was going to say, you got to learn. You can learn whenever, right? Doesn't matter. You can always learn new things.
Yeah, it gets harder when you get older, for sure. And especially like everybody in this group played at such a high level that it's a lot of work no matter what instrument you're on.
Well, and I was going to say, I mean, how did you guys all come together? Like, what's the story behind how East Nash Grass kind of came together?
The you question.
Yeah,
you were there for almost the beginning.
I mean, Maddie was there basically as soon as the gig became my responsibility. We started there in September or August of 2017. Me and Harry had both moved to town around the same time period. I moved at the end of 2016, and he came along about that time. And so he had the contact on the gig with our friend Luke, and we did it for a while. And then to make a long story short, we ended up getting fired from the gig and then rehired. And then the gig kind of became my responsibility at that point in time, which I think was June of 2018. So I was able to get Maddie shortly after that. Corey started playing not too long after that. And Gavin actually started in that same time period too.
Then it was Harry, and then Gavin, and then our bass player Jeff Pickard. So.
Yeah, so just kind of a collection of several years of what started out as just something that me and him, we both needed something to do when we moved to town. We took this gig, and Dee's was a new bar too. They just opened, so they kind of were looking for entertainment. Any normal bar wouldn't have hired us because we had no material, no band, no clue what we were doing. So we just lucked out that they were getting started too, and we kind of grew together. Once it became kind of an established core group of people, we started doing some special events, and we noticed that a Monday night was a good night because all these professional musicians in Nashville get off the road and they want to come out and have a drink and hang out because they're not working on the next day, and so we realized that like all of our friends that were in that circle, it became a really great spot for us to hang out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you never know who's going to show up in the audience on a Monday night. Last night we needed a fill-in we needed a fill-in recently, and it was Dennis Crouch. It's like they're just a phone call away on a Monday night. But yeah, you never know who's going to show up. It's pretty cool.
Well, and I feel like that's, like you said, that's kind of how the band kind of came together, as you guys then got the lineup going. But you all took a different journey to Tennessee, except for you, Maddie, because I think you've always been in Tennessee. But everyone else has kind of journeyed to Tennessee.
James is from Tennessee as well, but he's from East Tennessee, so he had multiple hours to have to drive. I had about 45 minutes from home. 40 if traffic's nice. But I'm sorry.
And I was going to say,
what was the question?
No, I was going to say so. But I mean, at the end, y'all kind of ended up in Nashville, and that's kind of obviously where everything grew from. Well, I guess my question would be then, what brought you all to Nashville?
I think we all just wanted to play music at a higher level and play professionally. Not just, you can play professionally, live anywhere. But coming here, man, they're just such a great, encouraging group of musicians that do the kind of stuff that we do. And
it's where a lot of the pros live, is here.
Lots of them live here, so you have access to all these amazing people. And I could tell you story after story about like records I grew up listening to, and then me getting to work with these very same people. And man, those are great moments.
Mm-hmm.
And those are great opportunities. And that kind of stuff just happens here. And it's people that are hungry for the music. If you're hungry for money or fame and things like that, I think people go to LA. They might go to New York. But if they really love the music and they love being able to create it and being around those kind of creative people that share that, they're going to often end up here.
Well, and I was going to say, you talk about playing professionally. It's one thing to, whether it was you, Maddie, doing the circuit and winning many fiddle contests and getting to perform with different groups. But when did you guys decide, like, hey, this is something I want to do career-wise? Because I feel like that's a different thought at some point in everyone's life.
Well, so I was actually a high school biology teacher after college. In college, I had a degree in biology. James has an environmental science degree. So he's using his a little bit. I'm not as much using mine anymore, but I was teaching high school biology for 5 years, and I didn't hate it. There was parts of it that I really loved, actually, and my coworkers were amazing, and it was a really fantastic experience. I'm so glad that I got to do it, but it just wasn't it wasn't my passion. And I love the kids, and but it wasn't the thing that I wanted to be doing. And I was like, you know what? I'm young, and now's the time, and I can always go back to teaching or using my biology degree if need be. And playing with these guys it's my favorite. And I felt like I had enough of a cushion playing with East Nash Grass and Dan Tominski too, because I'm also in his band. But I felt like I wasn't just diving off a cliff into who knows what. So it's been the best decision ever. So I made that decision about a year ago. So I've had 1 year now of no school. And it's getting towards the end of July, and I don't have to think about back to school or shopping or any of that. And so I feel great about that choice.
Well, and that's the other thing, too, that made it so much easier for all of us was like, this is the best music I think any of us have ever been part of, especially in Bluegrass. And you just don't get a lot of those kind of opportunities. And so I think the music kind of made that decision for us in a way.
Well, and like you said, you guys are a great group there. And how did you come up with the name East Nash Grass?
That was Corey. I don't remember how he came up with that. People ask us that a lot.
Well, it's not as self-explanatory as what I thought. I mean, it's East Nash Grass. And oftentimes
It's a bit of a tongue twister.
it is that. But people come up to us after shows and they're like, okay, so where are y'all from?
Yeah, that's the thing. We thought it'd be more revealing. And I guess when you live here in town, you pay more attention to these things. It's not as widely known, but like if you're into mainstream music, bro country, that kind of stuff, you're gonna live on the west side of town. You're gonna work on the west side of town. And if you're into like indie music or bluegrass, ends up falling into this category a lot of times, But if you're into something that's not mainstream, you're going to be on the east side of town. And that's neither a bad or good thing, because there's really nice places in both. Like there's very expensive real estate on both sides of town. It's not really a contest, but there's a palpable difference when you move here. Like when you go out there to the bars on Music Row, like what they're playing there versus what they're playing over here on the east side of town, and the town of people that played there. So that's it. Really, a lot of what it means is that if you're in the area, you would hopefully recognize that it's an East Nashville thing, which we're in the far East Nashville with Madison, and that's kind of pushing it. But it's still Davidson County.
It's east of Nashville, which is.
I was gonna say you can't go like out Nash Grass. That'd be kind of weird. So I like East Nash Grass. That makes sense.
Well, people did ask us that a lot, though. I guess because it makes us seem kind of like a regional band, and now we're branching out a little bit. But the National Bluegrass Band did that too. It didn't seem to affect their notoriety.
No, or the Nash Villains. I mean, they seem to be doing okay too. The rock. I mean, there's a lot of folks that. It's just a name. It's just a name.
Yeah.
Well, and I always loved growing up what the Nashville Bluegrass Band meant to me because, man, they were on everything. They were on all the TNN shows, on the Opry all the time, and at Opryland. My mom's side of the family's from here in Nashville. She grew up right down the street from where we are right now. And so I have a lot of family here, and I spent a lot of time here growing up. And so we would see them everywhere. And they were just so badass, man. I loved Alan O'Brien singing with Pat and Stuart Duncan. I mean, holy shit, that stuff was so great. So, we just thought if we could kind of do the same thing that they did, which is like they were a Nashville Bluegrass band. They were like what was hot in bluegrass at that point in time. And if we could try to assume even half of what they did, I think we'd feel pretty good about it.
Well, and I was going to ask you, you mentioned that group. I mean, who were some of the others that kind of impacted y'all, whether it was growing up, in the music you listened to or wanted to emulate?
Well, I listened to so much Texas-style fiddle because I was into the contest scene, and I went out to Weezer in the national championship, and it's all about Texas-style out there. So I listened to a bunch of Terry Morris and Benny Thomason, Shorty Chancellor. I listened to all of that and did the deep dive on Texas-style fiddle. I didn't start playing fiddle or playing bluegrass really until college. And then I just got the bluegrass bug, I guess, and I just listened to everybody that I could. But obviously, Stuart Duncan is my favorite fiddle player ever.
We all love Stuart. We all love Allison Krauss and Union Station. We've all listened to every one of those damn records, backward and forward. We all love Jerry Douglas. Nickel Creek. I think we're all Nickel Creek fans. We got to open for them in May. We're all, me and Gavin are big Stanley Brothers fans.
Oh, everyone in the band, big Stanley Brothers.
That's true. Everybody's big, probably more Stanley Brothers energy than Bill Monroe.
But we do have some of that.
But we try to make it a point really to bring in as much of that as we can, just because we've had so much space to fill. Like I've had to do so many covers when we fill in at times when the band's out of town. We've been playing at least 6 years every Monday, so obviously the band's going to change. Not everybody's going to be able to be there each week. So I've just tried to keep songs in the rotation that are Bill, Jimmy Martin. If we can get some Reno and Smiley in there, cool. Stanley Brothers, Flat and Scruggs, just the full gauntlet, so that we can try to be as inclusive as we can.
Well, and like you said, you've got that weekly gig there at Dee's Cocktail Lounge in Madison. What's that like? Because, that's a little different than when you're on tour or doing kind of other shows, because like you said, you've got to have, you could have different folks in because, one of y'all could be out. But then you could have regulars that keep coming back that maybe don't want to hear the exact same songs every week.
Too bad.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. sometimes we're doing some of the same stuff every week anyway, and they just have to deal with it. But
Yeah. I need to learn some more songs that I sing.
it's a nice place to learn music. If we need to work something out that's new that we know we might shit all over, we can at least try it out there. See if we can get through it. We can test out songs on audiences too and see what people will like, see what goes over well and what doesn't. So I think that definitely keeps it exciting over there.
Yeah, I always look forward to Monday nights for sure. Monday used to be the most miserable day of the week.
Oh, same. Yeah.
Absolutely. And then now it's Tuesday. No, it really did change my outlook on my happiness levels on Mondays, because I knew I was going to get to play some awesome bluegrass with some awesome people after work, and it gave me something to look forward to about a Monday, actually. And I've been enjoying the gig ever since.
And they fought us for a couple of years, but they finally started selling Busch Light out there. I'm serious. They were like, nobody's going to buy that shit. And I was like, no, we will.
I was gonna say, you guys would literally, you were like, it's a minimum. There's at least gonna be like a case every night for all of us.
Yeah, they did put it on draft a couple times just for like shits and giggles, but in general, it's just they just get it in cases.
Well, and being there, how different is that gig compared to, say, when you guys do get to go out on tour or open for folks and things like that? How different is that for y'all? Whether that's mentally or just kind of how you're putting the show together?
I think we're learning that each gig is different, and it's, some of them go. I don't think any of them go badly in this band, but some of them, of course, go better than others. Jesus gave us good practice at that sometimes, I think, because sometimes the audience that sees you all the time, it's a little harder to get a reaction out of.
Yeah, tough crowd sometimes.
Yeah, so believe it or not, it can be in that regard. You can't just say the same jokes, Riders in the Sky get to say the same jokes on the Opry every night for years, because it's usually a different crowd in the Opry. Like almost every night, it's tourists and out-of-town people and that kind of stuff. So,
I think Dee's has given us an opportunity to play together a lot too, and we've really melded as a band because we have this weekly thing. Obviously we all like practice on our own, but to play together with other humans, it's really nice to have the weekly thing, and Dee's has been a great spot for that.
Well, and like you said, well, and you guys have now been able to go out on do some gigs, do some touring, play festivals. You played the Ryman recently. How cool was that to be on the Ryman stage?
The coolest ever.
Yeah, it's the best, man. It really is. Like we want to get on the Opry, of course. That's a big goal of ours. But to be able to do the Ryman and do it twice now, yeah, it's dream come true, man. No doubt about it. Very special, haunted place.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't have that live, laugh, love sign back there, unfortunately.
Yeah, what a shock! We were really surprised at that.
Yeah, missed opportunity, man.
We really will hang one of those up next year. They book us back. I'm just going to leave it and see how long it takes for somebody to notice it.
I like it, and you've all, like I said, then you've also been like doing the summer tour. You got some more gigs coming up. What's it been like to get out and play in the festivals and kind of get out and about and show everyone what you guys have?
I think we've been really happy. We've really enjoyed getting to step out and play all these different new markets. I think it also has made us aware that we have a whole lot of work to do, because we've spent all our time building our market here, building a brand here, and outside of Nashville, we've still got a lot of work to do to be a recognizable name, But I think everybody feels really good about it still. This band can play on big stages and really still kick ass. And I think everybody in the band has shown that. And we get excited for more opportunity. It's one of those groups that if you put everybody under pressure, they'll do better. If they don't have any pressure, they'll just start, they'll just start quit. They'll quit giving a shit. It goes down.
Have too many bush lights.
Yeah, start getting unreliable. So just more pressure, the better. And it seems to work out for this band. And honestly, I love that because there's nothing worse than when you're on stage with somebody who's just having a meltdown. And you're just trying to get through the show. It's like, come on,
Not
dude.
to say that we haven't had
Oh yeah,
any of those.
and I will do it again.
Oh, yeah. Did it the other day.
It will happen. But this group carries itself really good, man. It's always makes it always fun because of that. Try to keep it lighthearted.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and you guys have an album that you're going to be putting out. Last Chance to Win comes out on August 18th. How exciting is that to be releasing that album?
It's so exciting. I brought over physical copies tonight to give to everybody. Everybody's here, in fact, tonight at Harry and Maddie's place, and I got so excited I left them in the truck because they're outside.
We do have, there's our album cover, the original painting that Catherine Gildner did of our little cat friend, our little Madison stressed out cat.
So we're
excited.
We're excited about it, of course. I think it's overdue for us as a group. It's been 2 years since our first album. People consume music very quickly, of course, and so it's past time to get it out there, and we're excited to see what it can do for us.
Hopefully start working on the next one soon.
Yeah.
Never too early.
Yeah, honestly, it's kind of the way that it works.
Well, and I was going to say, like you said, it's the second album. How does it differ from the first album? How would you say for folks that maybe have listened to the first one, what can they expect with this one and so forth?
We went in with the same nonchalant fashion, and that was important, apparently. But 'cause we really didn't even know when we started recording the album what would be on it. We had plenty of songs we knew, and we just decided to see what would fit the general mood of where we were at that point in time.
And a few songs we didn't know that we
Several of them we didn't know at all.
learned the day of.
Which was kind of the way we did the first album,
Pretty cool.
too. But the first album we did during the pandemic, for the most part. And so we didn't have anything else to do. So that's why it ended up with 14 tracks on it, was because it was kind of like we started cooking something in the kitchen. And it's like, oh, well, why not just make all this? So we kind of threw it all out there. And each album was a little bit aimless at times, but certainly the first one's probably more progressive bluegrass kind of, I guess that's what you'd call it, a lot of gilded rakes and powerful movements and things like that. And the second one ended up being more old time, and we didn't plan on that shit at all. It just happened.
I think it's powerful in its own little way, but it's definitely shows our that we all paid attention to old time music, whether or not we spent a ton of time playing it ourselves. We've obviously paid attention to old time music, and it kind of manifested accidentally on this album. And we've got some tunes that are originals to the band, and James wrote one, Harry wrote one, our friend Christian Ward wrote a couple, and one with Corey. I wrote a fiddle tune, and so we've got some original tunes on there, and they all just kind of turned out a little old-timey sounding. Couple of chords, simple, but just executed. I don't know, I'm really proud of this album. I think every artist wants to be proud of what they've done at the end of the day, and I'm proud of this. So it's a good feeling. Can't wait for folks to hear it.
Well, and like you said, you guys kind of take a little different approach. Maybe it's nonchalant. Maybe it's just, I call it chaos theory, just kind of see how things go. But when it comes to deciding songs, are you, picking stuff from other people that they've either pitched or you've worked with, or like you said, you doing some writing on your own? How does that process work for y'all?
I think our next album is going to be probably 100% songs that we've written. I would venture to say, if I have a say in it, it will be. But not that we don't enjoy, you know, submissions from our friends. Obviously, there's been some really great ones. David Greer gave us a couple songs for our first album that we really liked, and uh, but yeah, we haven't really sat down, all six of us as a band, and written any collective songs. That might be something to do, but we haven't really done it yet. But anyway, what do you have to say about that?
We definitely there'll be, I would think, more original material on the next one as we get a little bit more time to develop that. As far as being 100%, I don't know. We'll see. You know,
I was like, that's a lot of pressure.
Greer's given me some really great songs since then.
Yeah.
You know, so we have a lot of stuff that we do need to consider.
Maybe not 100%.
We do enjoy listening to see what other people can contribute.
Absolutely.
And Christian has kind of been, you know, a real budding writer. You know, he's starting to get some. I say budding. His career is budding. He's an established great songwriter, and he's starting to get some recognition because he and Jared Walker wrote "Red Daisy" for Billy Strings, which is one of Billy's
one song of the year last year.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's been a really really good song for him, and it's super cool, and it sounds like it's existed for a lot longer than it has. At least that's my opinion of it, and so we want to be able to use his talent as much as we can too, and
Yeah.
we just happen to kind of all be in the same place in life. And now he's been writing some with Harry and Corey as well. So yeah, we definitely need to get started on it, but we've just been so focused on trying to get this person out the door.
It's a lot of work to put out an album. Turns out.
I know, especially when they make you talk to folks like me and all that good stuff. And
well, we're putting a real concerted effort behind this release, whereas the first release was just as nonchalant as the production because it was the pandemic. What the hell were we going to do? Ramp up and tour nowhere? You know, so we finally ended up releasing it after working on it for like a year. We were just in no real big hurry to get it done because we didn't know when the end was going to be in sight for COVID-19. It's easy to forget that was only 3 years ago, that we were in the throes of the chaos 3 years ago. This month, we would have been just chilled. We would have definitely had to do this interview on the phone, you know, because there wasn't anything going on hardly. And so that just created a little different environment. We wanted to take it more serious this time so we could get a little more traction out of it.
well, and it's a great album. I've gotten to listen to it, you know, before I got to chat with y'all. And I always ask this too because I'm always curious: is there just like a song you're not supposed to have favorites? I say this like with kids, you're just not supposed to have favorites, but I think everyone kind of does. Is there just a song that you guys love performing, or just have had more fun with when off this album than maybe say some of the others on it?
Ooh.
I don't know. Yeah, I remember reading some of these questions. I don't remember thinking of what my answer for that one was.
I'll say this. One of my favorite things about this album is that I don't really feel like there's one that people are necessarily going to skip. Sometimes in albums it's like, man, that's a really killer album, but there's this one song that I skip every time. And when I've listened through the album, I've really enjoyed listening to every song. So it's really difficult for me to pick just one. But, man, I think Starlit Iris came out really well. That was our second single that went to the radio, and Harry wrote that one. And Corey played I don't even know what kind of banjo
That one
he played.
really came together naturally in such a cool way.
Just the colors on it are cool.
I can't remember if we had done Railroading and Gambling at that point or not, but Corey and I had kind of intentionally put our instruments in different places sonically. So on Railroading and Gambling, he's like capo 7 on the banjo. He's way up there, and I'm drop D on guitar. And then on Starlit Iris, we decided to do the opposite of that, where I was capo 5 on guitar in, you know, D position. And he found this old RB100. I think it was like a 60s RB100. The guy who owned the studio at the Tractor Shed was a guy named Mark Howard. And Mark's like an old legendary studio guy and hung out with John Hartford. And he lives in a house that I guess belonged to Grandpa Jones and was next to where String Bean and his wife were lived and were later murdered. So it's a super cool spot with a lot of history. Built to make a record there to begin with. And Corey just found this banjo in the back. And I guess Mark had it a really long time. And the way that Corey does, it was really fascinating to watch that song come to life because I could see him from the booth that I was in. And it was like each pass we would make, he would understand that instrument better. Because he literally just pulled this thing out of the back, man. I mean, it had dead strings on it, and he just low tuned it. I guess I think he's in a low. I think he's open C, low tuned on this banjo. So that means he's got to play really light. I could be wrong. Maybe it's not open C. I think that's what it is. But
hey, you play the banjo.
Yeah, I know. But I don't have one here to try to figure out what he had done on it. But I just remember it took him a few passes to really get it dialed in. And each pass he would get better and better. And he would find all the great spots on that instrument. You could hear him trying out different things and okay, this does this. You could just see him doing his magic. And by the end after we had done it for several takes and we learned it real good, we knew that was going to be a really special song. And it sounded to me like it was something that had existed before or something. It sounded like it was an older tune, and it was kind of quirky at the same time. And as soon as we walked away from the session, me and several others were commenting on how it's just an earworm and just gets stuck in your head.
There's several songs on the album that are earworms. The song you wrote, Almost Told Her So, that one kind of gets stuck in your head a little bit. Yeah. But another thing that I liked with Starlit Iris is that we ended up turning it into an animated video where we were all little animals, and that was a lot of fun. Skylar Wilson did that for us, and he was somebody that Corey met at Dee's. No, I don't even think on a Monday night. It was a different night. He's
kind of in our circle, and he's good buddies with some other, music pals of ours, and he's been record producer and decided to get into animation, for whatever reason, and he's really good at it, and he's funny, and he wanted to work with us, and we appreciated him working with us.
Yeah, he listened to our vision of things and really tried to make as much of it happen as possible. And we gave him some far out ideas, and he ran with it. Man, it was great. We're really happy about how that turned out too.
See, it's not nonchalant. It's just, like I said, it's a little bit of chaos through. Just loose ideas, see what happens, and I think a lot of things have turned out great on this album for y'all. And obviously this comes out on the 18th. Of August. We're a little over halfway through the year. What else can folks expect from you the rest of 2023?
Same stupid jokes, for sure.
Same or different?
But there will be some new ones.
Maybe.
Tim Allen will be mentioned at nearly every show. We're actually really trying to push hard to get him in real life to come out to one of our shows. We really got to get him and Richard Karn out there. So if anybody out there knows a good way for us to connect with his team, we want to have his team talk to our team.
That's right. Jenkins and accounting.
Yes.
I like it.
We're going to travel more next year. We're going to tour a little bit here later this year. We've got quite a few shows to finish out the year. And we hope to see as many people as we can because we got a new album that we're trying to get out into as many hands as we can.
It's
Well, it looks like a great rest of the year, a great setup for 2024. And like I said, folks need to check out Last Chance to Win when it comes out on August 18th. And James, Maddie, thanks for sharing a drink. I know mine was a little stronger than y'all's, but I appreciate it. And it's been a lot of fun.
It has been. We appreciate you. Thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Find more from Hops and Spirits at hopspirits.com.
Thanks, everybody. Bye.